and a good day I bid to the esteemed panel of judges. My name is Amanda Delaila Binti, Adly Farriz representing SMK St. Francis Convent. Today, I would like to review a few books that have really touched my heart in the aspects of literature, primarily Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Now, Charles Dickens is an author that I really admire for his constant advocacy for getting children out of poverty. Now, this circulating theme is not only seen prevalent in Great Expectations, but as well as his other works. For example, Oliver Twist. Charles Dickens' writing style might be complex to digest because of his massive usage of metaphor, but in my opinion, I do believe that this is what contributed to the visual imagery and the setting that made the book what it is. For example, there's this house in this book called the Sadist's House, and it is a reflecting plane of the mental state of mind of the woman who lives in that house, Miss Havisham. This is not the first time that I've seen the concept of using a house as a metaphor and a symbolism of a person. I've also seen it in works of Edgar Allan Poe in his prose entitled The Fall of the House of Usher. The theme of this book is mainly hardship, and the prevalent issue in this book that has been brought out is the fact that some people cannot accept that their reality will never be as great as their expectations. The protagonist named Pip, while the antagonist named Miss Havisham, serve as motives towards this theme and issue. When Pip, who grew up in poverty, was given this great expectation that he could get to high society, but then was let down by the sad reality, he did not give up and eventually succeeded. In comparison, Miss Havisham, who was already rich in the beginning, when she was faced with sad reality, immediately corrupted. Thus, it relates to the underlying message, in which ambition can make or break a person. The exposure of poverty and the underclassmen within society came to me like a big realization that the financial margin will never get smaller and the playing field will always be uneven. The rich will always get richer and the poor will always get poorer. We still see poverty today even in our own country, Malaysia, ever more so after the movement control order that was implemented due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has left people, and many people, in economic crisis. So some of these children are not born with a silver spoon in their mouths, but how did they succeed? Well, the answer is determination, and I believe Pip in this book is a personification of determination. It also serves as a moral value that hard work can get you anywhere. Now, this relates to my life, as my principle in life after reading this book is that in order to succeed, we have to strip away the preconceptions and only focus on our determination. So like I've said, the language is heavily Victorian, but what really drew me into reading this book over and over again is the usage of one literary aspect, and that literary device is foreshadow. Foreshadow, in my opinion, is the main pivot of the story that turned the whole story around into a complete circle. One quote that has stuck to me within this book is, "I have been bent and broken, but I hope into a better shape." And I believe this is a great reflection towards the protagonist named Pip and his ability to understand that his mistakes does not define who he is. It is only from there can he use it as a stepping stone to become a better person and improve quality of life. The second book that I will be talking about today is Animal Farm by George Orwell. George Orwell is a talented author who's able to personify anything, even into barn animals. George Orwell is also a political satire, and it is very much apparent in his work, not only Animal Farm, but as well as 1984. Now, in Animal Farm, it represents the Communist Party that rules the Soviet Union and the Russians back then into farm animals. Despite the metaphor of Russian Revolution, I do believe that it serves as a general message that despite what is governing your society, be it capitalist, communist, socialist, democratic, society will always have that cycle of oppression, corruption, and ultimately rebellion. The third book is called Le Petit Prince by Sir Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Now, I really love this French book, and it is a fable that applies to anyone at all of any ages. I believe that if you were to read it as a child, you would think it as a cute, adorable, beautiful fairy tale. But as you grow and grow, you grow up with this book, it's like being directly proportional to becoming more mature and understanding the underlying messages. So the main theme of this book is actually absurdism. Absurdism within adulthood, and that leads to anger, power, greed, and more. A more directly realistic book would be Monk Who Stole His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Now, this book was introduced to me by my father, who is a great leader. The reason he gave this book is because it is a great business fable that is kind of representing the writer itself, Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma left his big career to go on a spiritual journey and find out what true leadership is in order to actually fulfill his life as a person, as an individual, and not only focusing on materialistic gains. And his whole story is within this monk who sold his Ferrari in order to go to the Himalayas as well. This book provides a pathway for me to understand what true leadership is and find out how to obtain those qualities and treat people the way they should be treated. Jumping back into fantasy, I believe that this book, Percy Jackson and the Greek Heroes by Rick Riordan, is the tip of the iceberg to his universe that he has created out of not only Greek mythology but as well as Roman, Norse, and Egyptian mythology. I believe that Rick Riordan's ability to synthesize complex substances into simpler terms and comedic stories for children to read is a talent that I want to obtain as well. Thus, these are the books that have shaped my individuality and changed my perspective towards life. I do believe that books are the true essence to finding the principle of your own lifestyle. To quote Jules Verne, a futuristic science fiction author of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, we are of opinion that instead of letting books grow moldy behind iron grating, we should let them wear out by being read. And with that, I thank you for listening.